everybody, welcome back to my channel, and we are here. We have just finished our 8th and 9th week of homeschool. So if you would like to hear about how things are going, then let's go ahead and get started. All right, so as I just said, we've just finished 9 weeks of school, which means we have officially finished our first quarter. So yay, let's throw some confetti on that. Things have been kind of a little bumpy here in our first quarter, so I don't really have a huge update today. I have a couple things I'm going to talk about for each of my 2 students, but I want to show you what curriculum we're using as I go through those subjects. So I will be doing that today just kind of as a refresher. And then I do have our curriculum choices video that I put up at the beginning of our school year. So a lot of it will be the same, some of it will be added, but this will be just kind of a way that you can, especially if you're new to the channel or you haven't seen these series videos before, then you'll be able to kind of get an idea of where I'm pulling my curriculum from, okay? I'm going to be referring to my handy dandy checklist. This one's finished off. We just finished school today, and then I decided to film this video. So this is, I've talked about this before, but I'm actually considering making a checklist on a different color piece of paper that will be just for my 4-year-old, because we're beginning to get into some more lesson material, lesson-driven curriculum. And so just as a checklist for me to make sure that I'm covering everything with each student, I like to be able to have it all laid out at the beginning of my week. And whereas previously I thought that I could just kind of hand her a bunch of different worksheets and stuff, now we're trying to be a little bit more organized. So I think I might print out 2 pages per week and have them on my clipboard and have them color coded so that one will be white with all my pretty colors because I can't let that go. And then the other one I'll put on yellow paper or something like that. So anyway, so I'm going to refer to that as we go down. Also, before I jump into it, just make sure that if you would like to time hop, check the description box below and I'll put a timestamp of when I will start talking about my 4-year-old's work. So if you're not into 2nd grade just yet, then you can just jump out over to there, okay? All right, 2nd grade, let's get started. Number 1 is reading. So for reading, I have, oh man, I have too many books going on here. Okay, every day my kiddo does one of these. I did a look in the book for this. This is an Moor reading product, and it does reading comprehension, and it has just some language arts correlated questions. So he does a page of this every day. Every day I make him read the story and then he reads it. So it's kind of like 5 in a row in that he will read the story. He usually only reads it about 3 times, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. By Thursday and Friday, I kind of don't make him read it, although that's my intention. It just doesn't happen that way. So I've really been enjoying this curriculum. I think we're about, I don't know, 2 or 3 stories in. I don't know how far we are. We're on page 33 now. So I'm really enjoying using that, and it's very kind of diversified. He does 1 page, so it's quick, which is really great. He can just kind of get through it and check off those boxes. So he does that, and then right after that, he does his handwriting. I am still loving the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. This is level 2, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, this isn't a matter of how fast you can do it. This is a matter of penmanship practice. I want to make sure you're forming those letters correctly. So do it slow, and he really does try to work hard at, making his letter formations, not only just getting the letter on the paper, but if the letter D, put the circle on the bottom first and then make the stem. So, and then we've been really loving the little art bits on the bottom. Some of them are draw this picture, some of them are color this picture, some of them are select one of the pictures on the side here and try to copy it or draw something similar to it. So anyway, 2 thumbs up for the Good and the Beautiful level 2 handwriting. I've highly considered getting my daughter started on some handwriting practice from the Good and the Beautiful too. I don't know if they, what their lowest level is, if they have a level K, but I'm gonna look and see. And if they do, then I'm gonna be probably considering grabbing that. Okay. English. So we do BJU Press distance learning for English, and I am still really loving it. We just wrapped up poems, and then we picked up nouns, proper nouns and common nouns, and plural nouns. So that's been really fun and good. As I've mentioned, I think I might have mentioned this before, but just by way of like a review, so far, we're in chapter 4. So far, it hasn't really been spelling. There's been no spelling. And we did do grammar at the beginning. We did some punctuation. But anyway, I say that because I know that BJU Press has its own spelling curriculum, but some language arts curriculum, if you're new to homeschooling and you don't really know the world very well, some language arts curriculum will incorporate spelling, grammar, writing, all the stuff in one. Like we did Horizons previously, and I felt like it was very cohesive in that sense. So BJU Press really is like a language arts English study. Writing, there's a lot of writing for sure. So anyway, that's just kind of on a side note for that. I have been loving it, and he has really been enjoying it, and the lessons are great, and Mrs. Gerald is the teacher. She's great. I have nothing negative to say. If you can afford it, I would say you could do it because it's been great. Okay. Spelling, we switched spelling. I was doing Spectrum 2, but I decided to switch to this building spelling curriculum unit for no other reason than I just liked it better. The format is the same, but I just liked it better. I liked that it had dictation sentences that you could do that included all the spelling words at the beginning. Anyway, I did a look in the book for this not too long ago, so check out my Evan Moore products playlist and find this one, and I like it. It's also a daily one, you can tell, because it's got the Monday through Friday squares on the side. But anyway, so he does that, and he does it quickly. We are not great. Spelling has been a bit of a struggle for me to remember to do it on a daily basis. And I learned all these really great spelling like hacks when I went to my conference back in June, and I haven't used them, but anyway, maybe someday. Okay, moving along, Spanish. We are just doing a very light Spanish, and I've been doing some videos on YouTube. I haven't been super impressed. I found a playlist from Just So Trish, and she had like compiled a huge playlist back when she was doing Spanish with her young kids. And so I just kind of copied that playlist, and I haven't been super impressed with the content available. So if you know Spanish and you are comfortable getting in front of a camera, you could provide some quality YouTube videos for us mamas out here, because I haven't really found anything that I love. Here, question. If you have something that you love that you're using, let me know. Okay, math, we are doing Horizons 2. I know in my last video I talked about it, and I think I might have like botched everything, but this is the one that we're using, and we had 2 really awesome weeks because we didn't have any addition or subtraction required. So it was good. They kind of incorporated it in a different way, but they didn't have just like straight problems in the masses. So that was it was a really positive week. We started learning regrouping, so I was using blocks, which I didn't bring over here, but I was talking about it when we were doing it. I was talking about it on my Insta stories over on Instagram. But just that those little like manipulative blocks have been really helpful in trying to show like 10s and 1s and how to regroup those when you're starting to learn about that long subtraction problem. So anyway, that's been a huge plus, and I've loved that. History. Oh, we had such a fun history unit. So here's my thing. I'm just going to say this about my history and science. History and science, I flip-flop. I do 2 or 3 days of one subject, and then the rest of the week I do the other subject. So during week 8, we did 3 days of history and then 2 days of science. And then this week we did 3 days of science and 2 days of history, in theory. But let's be honest, here's the honest truth, is I've just always struggled with science. Why am I always struggling with science? So we're doing matter for science and the properties of matter and how matter can change. And I showed them Bill Nye the Science Guy on the computer for a bit, and we kind of went around the house and found all of our solids and our liquids and what could be gases, with like filling up a balloon and yada, 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 and like a humidifier. We had that, but then like the next thing was to do a little science project on the stove and like put ice in the hot pan and watch it melt and then watch it evaporate. And I was like, yay, let's do it. And then we still haven't done it, but hopefully we'll get to it. I think I have faith that I can get to it. But history was so good. I'm going to give myself 5 stars for history. So let me show you the resources that I bought. So this is a Teachers Pay Teachers purchase. We learned about the different, I'm going to say levels of government, but it's not going to be like the 3 branches, so don't get confused. So we talked about local, state, and national governments, okay? So I bought a resource on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is Busy Me and 3. Check the description box below if you're looking to kind of grab this resource. But there's tape on here. Anyway, so I put these up on my little whiteboard here, as you can see. So we had kind of them to reference. And then I made one of these little doabs. She has 3 in her shop that you can kind of go through. And then, anyway, we just chose this one. She has like a disc one, this kind, and then one other one anyway, so we did this, and then you fill them out as you like go through, right? So instead of using my curriculum, which I just have the books from BJU Press, which I love, and we just did it from her curriculum and read that, and then we went and visited our state capitol building. So as like a field trip. It was so fun, and it was just a good unit, and I really felt like pat on the back for this homeschooling mama when you like see your kids get it, where they're like, oh, okay, like I get it. There's a state, local, and national. And even as we like drive around, sometimes I'll be like, this road is under construction. Which government is responsible for this? We're going to the library. Which government is responsible for this? Our neighborhood is having like safety training. Which government is responsible for this? Okay. So it's just been really fun because I feel like he's like, oh, okay. Like different people are in charge of different things. And that was just such a fun win. So I recommend that product. I think it worked out. I don't even remember what it was called other than maybe Levels of Government. And the shop, like I said, was Busy Me plus 3. Description box below will have that link for you if you want to go there, okay? Read aloud. So my last video, we were doing Gulliver's Travels, and I wasn't feeling very confident. And sure enough, we dropped off. And so I put that book aside because it was just, I just didn't like it. Honestly, like if we're going to break it down, it was a me issue. I'm sure my kids probably would have listened to it to the end if I made them, but I was like, this isn't interesting. So we went back to our tried and true Hardy Boys. If you haven't looked up, these are from my library. If you haven't looked up or read the Hardy Boys, both of my kids really like them. This is what the text, like the level of text, if you're, I don't know. I'm just showing you in case you're like, I've never seen that. Is that something I want to do? I got my first 2 Hardy Boy books from the Scholastic reading group, just online through like a Scholastic book order. And then these ones I went and got from my local library, okay? So they have very few simple illustrations, but they're all like mysteries. The Hardy Boys are like detectives, and they have to figure out whatever story it is. So we just finished the Fossil Frenzy, and now we will read The Races On in the coming weeks. So my kiddos have really enjoyed those. It was actually, I'm going to say it was a recommendation from one of you guys that had said longer books, the kids tend to get a little discouraged because they don't resolve quickly enough. And so I liked that recommendation. So I went with these easier novels or books, I guess. I don't know what you'd call them. And my kids have really been enjoying them. So we've been tracking them on our reading tracker. And I just changed our reading tracker. Did I ever show you guys that? Anyway, I just copied a page and it made it all cute, of course, because I have to. Anyway, we just write down, and instead of it just being my son's independent reading, I've just made it into a read aloud tracker. But speaking of that, my son did start doing some independent reading. And did I mention that in my last video? He has started reading the Magic Tree House books by himself. And I feel like it's such a win. We've crossed a bridge, and it just feels really good. So that has started. Okay, how about that? How did we do? Let's kick over to my 4-year-old and what I'm doing with her. I feel like I'm missing something, but I think we're okay. All right. For my 4-year-old this week, so last week we did birthdays because we had 2 birthdays in our house in 1 week. And so we just like everything that we did was like cupcakes, like put the sprinkles on the cupcakes or candles or whatever. And then we did like matching numbers, like we would match cake pieces or try to like, anyway, anything that had to do, or like birthday balloons, I did that for one of them, and they had to like go around the room and find the different balloon, and then we were popping the balloons open to find the letter that I had stuffed inside. Anyway, so it was just a really fun, and since we were celebrating birthdays, I tried to make it more of a party feel, but we were still doing like letters and numbers and all that kind of like matching stuff too. So that was really fun. And then just this previous week, we did 5 in a row. If you're new to homeschooling and you haven't heard of 5 in a row, so I have this one, volume 1, and I really, really enjoy it. It's just got some really great story recommendations, and then along with the stories, they give you like lesson suggestions that are various like subjects that go with the story. So we did this one. It's just one of my favorites, especially for fall. And we are going to be making some apple pie this weekend to kind of finalize that unit. But this is how to make an apple pie and see the world. I have this little like passport. This is mine. So that it's not quite so gross. But anyway, like it has the flag to the country, and then it talks about like what ingredient we got from there. I'm trying to show you a little bit more here. And then at the end, this is like a map that shows where she went, and this is us, because then she went home and made the pie. So that's what we were doing, is like we were talking about for my older kid, I was like, she went back to Utah. For my younger kid, we just drew a house. But this was just so cute. And then we have our map, of course, like here's our big map, and we had that out. And then I had printed out little pieces of like discs, I guess you could say, like just little circles with a picture of the ingredient, and we were placing them on our map. So I had magnets on the back of them, and then we were placing them on the map as to where we went to get each of the ingredients. And then we went to a little farm orchard thing that's close to our house, and we picked up some apples from their tree. So now we have apples, and we are going to be baking the pie. And in addition to all of this, kind of like as an overhead theme that fits so perfectly, is we were studying 2 Corinthians chapter 9, which just talks about God loves a cheerful giver. And so we're going to make the pie and give it to somebody cheerfully. So that worked out perfectly. All right, so that was kind of like a really big arching theme. As far as book work that my daughter still does, so we have jumped into Horizons kindergarten, and she just barely kind of has started addition. And so I threw her on to Math Facts is the name of the program. They're just DVDs. You can get the first, so there's 3 like phases, but you can get the first one for free on YouTube, here on YouTube. So it's Math Facts, and they're just little like animated, they've like animated the numbers, and then they just say the math problem multiple times while the little animated numbers do whatever they do. There is one that they've turned it into a bit of a song, like a little jingle, and that's the one that my daughter remembers like right off the bat. It's like 3 + 5 = 8. Da, 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 da. And they'll like go through and sing that one. So anyway, I threw her up on that a few times. She's been especially interested in doing work on the computer because she sees her brother doing it. So I also put her on teachyourmonstertoread.com, which is a free program. It moves very quickly. So even like, I think I started her 2 weeks ago, and then just today I was like, this is too much for you. And so we just reset it, and I put her back on the alphabet because it was asking her to read sentences, which I don't think she just was more interested in playing the game maybe, or I don't know. Anyway, so I just resetted the program. Another one that I put her on is abcya.com. It's ABCYA, and she really loves that, and will pick different games that she can do for her grade level. My second grader also likes ABC, yeah, and I'll throw him on that occasionally. But you do have to watch it because towards the bottom they have some seasonal games, which are like straight up games. There's not any learning involved at all. It's like put the lights on, decorate the Christmas tree or the whatever, the house with the Christmas lights, or put the confetti on the cookie, or I don't know. It's like, man, you're not learning anything. But the other ones you do, like they have dot-to-dot games, and they have like, it's called Monster Match, and they have to like match numbers or letters or sounds or anyway. So there is good stuff with that too. So we've been doing all of that, and they have like both math problems and phonics practice with both of those. Okay, other books that she's using. So I just did a look in the book for this, but she does this book while my son does his reading book. I was going to try and grab it for you, but I can't find it. And she's loving on this. She's almost finished, actually. We're maybe a little more than halfway through. So she does one whole section every time we sit down and do it. So I try not to do it every day because we're going to burn through that. But kind of the pace that we're going at, I'm okay with it because I feel like if I can stretch it out until the end of our semester, then when the new year starts in January, then I'll get her started on like an official phonics reading program, of which I'm not sure what I'm going to choose. But so that's kind of like the path that we're on right now, is I'm kind of just burning through these books, and I say that in a positive light, so that we can be ready for January when I switch her onto a more focused reading, like phonics kindergarten level curriculum, okay? What else is she doing? Okay, we do still do this. This is her like interactive notebook, but those are the letters. We're doing these ones now, the words. I talked about this a couple videos ago. You can grab this up on my Teachers Pay Teachers shop. So we do that still also while my son does his handwriting. She does that. And then the other thing that we're doing is Explode the Code, and she just started book C. So this is another product that she just kind of like races through. I do notice, however, that she gets burned out more. I don't know, just depends on the day, I guess, because some days she's really strong and just like wants to do tons of school, but other days I can tell she starts to get distracted, or the directions will say color the picture and she just wants to like take her pencil and just scribble. And when I start to sense that, then I immediately say, okay, we're not gonna finish this page. We're gonna either move on to a more like active activity, or we're just gonna wrap up school, depending on kind of like where we are. A lot of times I'm like, hey, we're done. Like, you don't have to do any more. And sometimes she'll be like, no, I wanna do more. But you know, just like today, she was like, yeah, I think I'm done. So it's important, especially at this young age, even like second graders, like 7-year-olds, to make sure engage their learning interest and don't force them to do something if they've already been working for a long period of time, and to not like kill the learning buzz while they're young. You know, if you need to take a brain break, then do it. And if that brain break is even like 2 hours and then you come back, then do it. So don't force your kids. And that's where I was with her, especially. I've noticed in the last couple of days that where she was loving the books and like burning through them one page after the next, I have had to pace her more and just be like, hey, let's just do one page in this book and then we'll do one page in the next book. That way she'll be able to finish whatever I have planned for her for that day, which is where this like checklist will come in handy, because then I can say, no, let's try to get all of these things done instead of just burning through like a whole unit in her Explode the Code book. So anyway, I think I've pretty much covered everything. All right, I did cover everything before my camera randomly shut me off right there. But thanks so much for watching this rather extensive video as an update to our 8th and 9th week of homeschool. Give me a comment down below if you have a question or a thought. Like me, like the little like button there, and subscribe to the channel if you want to, so that you can follow along in our homeschool journey. And I pop up videos with resources and tips and tricks and all the kind of fun stuff that I do over here on my YouTube channel. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in another one. Bye, guys.